At the beginning, we mentioned that HTML is written in an HTML document, and that document can be created and edited using any text editor. You can use any kind of text editor you want, but there are some editors that are specially made for web developers, and those editors make the coding easier and faster. In this lesson, we will see one of the best and most used free and paid editors, and we will extend their functionalities by using extensions, or also known as plugins. First, we will see one of the best and most used paid HTML editors, and those are Adobe Dreamweaver, Adobe Xcode, and Sublime Text. Adobe Dreamweaver, it is known to be the most popular and most used website builder with years. It is not only an HTML editor, but a what you see is what you get editor, which means you can design websites without coding. Then we have the Adobe Xcode, which is also an Adobe product. And the last is the Sublime Text, which is a newer editor than this Auto 2, but it's growing really fast, and many developers switch to Sublime Text. Many internet sites rate Auto web editors as top editors, like Coffee Cup, Microsoft Expression Studio, Web Studio, and so on. But I don't name the editors by how sites are saying, but how community is saying. Maybe I will be wrong, but usually sites vote for the programs that are sponsoring them. In the year I'm developing in HTML, and by the time I was searching for the best solution for an HTML editor, asking the community and auto web developers like me, I noticed that most of them rate Adobe Dreamweaver and Sublime Text as the best and most used paid HTML editors. This is a short list of paid, but these two, like the community says, it's worth paying for. Not only paid HTML editors, but we also have a free HTML editors, which some of them are open source. Open source means that the source code of the program is free to use, to edit, to modify it, and to sell it as your product. The ability of editing this source code is great because the program can be updated with more cool features from individual users. But not all source codes are free to use. It depends on the license of the code. The best and most used free HTML editors are Obtain Studio, Notepad++, and Brackets. Obtain Studio, it's not just an HTML editor, but an EED. An EED is a software which includes great features and tools which allows you to develop your software directly from the EED without using any external program and not just code in it. For example, some EEDs have built-in web servers, which allows you running your site on a local server, just like you will do on a real web server. And some IDEs support coding in other computer languages, and not just HTML. The second one is Notepad++. Maybe you have heard about this one, and maybe not. You may think by its name, it is a simple Notepad editor. Yes, maybe it's Notepad inspired editor, but this one has many great features. And what's best, if some feature is missing, you can try and search for plugins. Notepad++ supports plugins, and the number of plugins this editor supports is huge, because the community behind this editor is huge also. I name it editor and not an HTML editor because this editor can edit any type of computer language file, from Java to C++, PHP, Perl, Ruby, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and many more. In this lesson, we will see how to use the Notepad++ editor and the brackets editor, which are the most used in today's development, and they are also free. You can download and install the Notepad++ editor from the link below. After installing, you can install the Notepad++ plugins from the program itself. Before, we had to install some Notepad++ plugins to make the development easier, but now most of them are implemented in the Notepad++ program by default. So there is only one plugin to mention here, and that is the Explorer plugin. First, let's install the Explorer plugin. To install a plugin, go to the plugin menu, then Plugin Manager, and click on Show Plugin Manager. The Plugin Manager window will show. Here we have 3 tabs. In the Available tab, you can find all the available plugins you can install. In the Updates tab, you can check for plugin updates. And in the Install tab, you will see a list of all plugins currently installed with the option to reinstall them or remove them. So click on the Available tab and look for the Explorer plugin. Then check the Explorer plugin and click on the Install button. The plugin will download and install. Now click Yes to restart the editor. After restarting, the next thing we need to do is activate the options that will help us in faster coding and making websites. So go to the Settings menu and click on Preferences. Now click on the New Document Settings and then click on Default Language Select List and change the language to HTML. This will use the HTML language as default, so when we are creating new files, it will automatically set the language to HTML. Next, click on the File Association settings and associate the HTML and HTML extensions just by selecting them and clicking on the right arrow, so that the files with those extensions will be opened in the Notepad++ editor by default. The last thing we need to do is activate the Autocomplete and Suggest feature. So click on the Autocomplete option and check everything in the Auto Insert section. So now when we insert an opening brackets, braces and tags, it will auto insert a closing brackets, braces and tags. And also make sure that functions and words completion is checked and function parameter on hint too. And now click Close. So now when we create a new file by going File and then New File, or by just clicking the New File icon, if we try and type a tag, we'll get a suggestion, and if we write the opening tag, the editor will auto-insert a closing tag. So now every time we write an opening tag, it will automatically insert a closing tag too. So now you don't need to worry if you forgot a closing tag. And also, if you try to save the file, it will automatically set the file type to HTML or HTML. That's because we've set the default language to HTML. And you can see that in the bottom left corner of the status bar, the current language of the file is set to HTML. Another cool option that is worth using is the ability of applying themes. So go to the Settings menu and choose Style Configurator. Here you can choose the default theme for your computer language, in this case HTML. And here you have a huge list of themes you can choose from, and every theme has different style for different computer language. For now, we'll use the default one. And then click the Save and Close button. The last thing we need to do is see the Explorer plugin we have installed earlier. So look for a folder icon with magnifying glasses on it in the tab bar, and then click on it. On the left side, you can see the Explorer, where you can open files and folders directly from the editor. You can also create a new file or folder. Or move backwards and forward in the file tree. So that's all the things we need to set up in the Notepad+ editor, which will speed up our HTML development. The next editor we will see is the Brackets editor, which is also a free and open source editor.